this hackathon that's happening here, we have live transcription here. I feel so important when you see live transcriptions at the bottom, don't you? When you start talking and it's written out, maybe it's because of my, when I was a kid, the only channel that had that was the government channel, and so it felt like $1 million if to see that, and it's
the news stations, yeah.
Exactly. Over here where I was a kid, that's only one that had it, and it was so amazing. So it's amazing.
Good to meet you too, Manuel, because I just noticed, I think same Manuel that I was just talking to in Slack.
Hey, yeah, that's me. We met over at Boca Code, having fun, excited to win this hackathon, right, Damian?
I like the way. So
I like it. Yeah, take ownership right there.
That's right. Manuel, or Manny as he's owned to some of the few people that are allowed to call him that. I'm not allowed to call him that. is not satisfied with second place. So
second place is the first loser, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
That's right. Damian, how often do you see junior devs winning these things?
A lot of times. It's not crazy, and the opposite. Like in the last one, I think last year we had Rick was this masterful person, but there was something that was missing in his presentation, and he didn't take it. While the two that won, correct me if I'm wrong, Nikki, I mean they're not. I don't think they've been programming for 20 years, right? I think they're
but actually the last one we did at Office Depot, the first place winning team, I think, and the second place team, those were all junior devs. Those were all like I think some of them were currently like in Iron Hack. One of them had just graduated. Like it was a whole team, I think, of like 6 or 8 of them that were just junior, like graduated.
So sorry, Manny, you're not going to be the first beginner that does this, and I wouldn't call you a beginner. So
good to hear it, though.
Fresh mind, fresh ideas.
Yes.
Yep, exactly.
I love that.
Exactly.
Yes. We do need that. Absolutely. Becca, how do you feel? I think sometimes when people look at us as developers, they say like, well, no, you're not part of the creative team. You're part of the, the muscle, essentially, the people that don't think, they do. And I'm like, I haven't met more creative people than developers.
No, yeah, totally agree with you. Well, I guess it depends. Do they work in the back end? Then maybe not. No, just kidding. Yeah, but I mean, to speak to Manuel's statement, I did my first hackathon after I took 1 2-week UX course. So lots of juniors, and our team did pretty well. I was on a team with Mark, actually. And I think we got like 5th place. That was my first hackathon. It was my first like tech experience. It was amazing.
Wonderful.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Mark saying, oh yeah, second place is rough burn when everybody on the team did great. All the coaches convinced us that we had it in the bag. That's true. Still, it was a pleasure to work with Rebecca and the others on the team.
Oh.
Absolutely. I think it was fantastic. And you never know what can happen. Well, we won't give away what the secret is because we don't know what the secret is to why it's going to be first. There's going to be Nikki and Todd joining us, and both of them have been. I mean, Nikki, were you ever one of the judges, or you were in the table with the judges, right?
Well, so I was never a judge at our hackathons, but I've been judges of other like hackathons and pitch contests, but never ours, because I thought it'd be weird if I worked there and was a judge.
Yeah. You were the one with the women pitch event, right? Like a month ago.
Which one? No.
I thought there was one. Give me a second. I'm sure that Jeremy in. Apparently, my computer doesn't have a mouse. There was one in Miami, or no, that was Michelle. That was no.
Maybe that was that Michelle, Rebecca? Do you know that did one in Miami? I know she went to one, but I don't know if she was a judge for one.
No, I don't think she was. Oh wait, yeah, wait. It was a school. It was like a. Sorry, my dogs are going.
Was that the one at the lab?
I think so.
Maybe.
Mark, for the transcriptions, we need that one that lets you know who's talking.
Mhm.
Who built that? That young lady that's just showing up
Ida.
everywhere.
Ida,
Ida.
yeah.
She is just,
Ida, yeah.
her product is showing up absolutely everywhere. It is
Mhm.
amazing. She is a great entrepreneur.
And we will have this year too ASL interpretation for the hackathon, and we can this time thankfully afford it for the entire 3 days.
Awesome.
Last year we could only afford it for I think Friday and half a Saturday, or half a Sunday. So this time we can. We'll have it the whole weekend.
That's great.
Excellent. Impu, what do you think? What can you collaborate with? What can you bring as far as creativity? You brought that up last time.
Oh, this is my first hackathon, to be honest. Like, I don't know. But I managed QA team. Like, I worked as a QA automation engineer, and I led the teams. Right now I'm managing team. So when Rebecca told like anybody can join, like I am a kind of person, like I just want to try. And I was like, okay, let me come in. Maybe project management, maybe design suggestions, maybe presentations. But I want to understand how exactly it is and what it takes to win. For me, like go with a mindset to win. Whether you lose or not, I don't care. But I want to come with a mindset that we have to win.
That's the way you win.
How it should be.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
So tell us, Input. So what is your feeling? What when you see a hackathon, do you see something that looks scary or something that looks fun or difficult?
I think something difficult and fun, both. It depends on team. I think we need a team with full mixed people. Like you need developers, you need creators, because all developers are not creators, but all creators are not developers. So we need to have all mixed ideas within the team, and we need someone to present it, like pitch in an idea. For example, we'll be very good at developing, but we don't know how to present it in front of everybody. So we need definitely someone who knows how to present their simple idea in a most interesting way.
I don't have that here. I don't have that in my notes, but Impu, it is exactly the right idea. And I often talk about it. I often talk about exactly that. So great idea.
So I think, yeah, that's the reason I want to learn. That's why I joined this call, to understand how to win. And
And to
Rebecca
get,
told me that we should not prepare, like it's cheating. She asked us like just come
oh,
there and just participate. She instructed us.
I think you have to explain that, Rebecca. Tell us more. Why should we not prepare?
I was saying, okay, that's not. Impu is okay. So for background, me and Impu work on work at City Furniture together, and she's also playing down her skill set because she's an incredible manager, she's an incredible leader, first of all. But no, I was just saying you can't like start, but you could do research. You can maybe think of a few things, but like you can't like start working on anything. She was like, hey guys, let's do a meeting beforehand, start talking about what we're gonna do. I was like, look, wait till Friday.
Yeah, definitely.
I have had people emailing me already asking me like, can I do this idea? Can I do this sub-project for this? Can I create this? And so I think people are already starting to kind of think of different ideas.
Yeah, you can't stop somebody from thinking.
I'm following everything on LinkedIn. Like I think like you post, Nikki posts so much, like, and it is more of inclusion, and I already picked up all those words. Okay, it is something related to inclusion. You guys will ask us something to develop, or I don't know what you will do. So I'm just trying to follow you on LinkedIn and understand what is going on.
Good. Yeah, I mean, I can give you an idea of just some of the stuff like, so because I know the topic is very broad around inclusion, but a lot of people that have been emailing me or kind of slacking me messages, probably to get, hints on what they can or cannot create. As long as it has to do with like diversity, inclusion, equitability, accessibility. So for instance, some people have been asking me, and I posted a couple of these things on LinkedIn, but can they create like something to help startup founders, like Black and Brown startup founders, get access to funding, or something for the deaf and hard of hearing community, or educational resources for those like I saw somebody ask me about creating like educational resources for the blind community. I mean, really anything that you can think of, just that has to do with inclusion. It's a very broad topic, but those are some of the ideas that people kind of like email me about and see if they're allowed to do type of thing. But so it was a yes to all of it.
So excellent. I love that, and it's the right idea. Like, you know, we always can bring ideas, and it's funny. I always worry about, like, you know, that we're going too fast, that we're asking people too fast to you know, to join a team. But you're right. Everybody seems to have an idea as to what's going on. Mark asks, will the hackathon this year follow the same format as last year, where we had to craft the solution around the central theme? Like last year was picking one of 3 nonprofits and how to solve this issue. Nikki, you're already on it. Yes. So the answer to everybody else is yes. The hackathon is Hack for Inclusion. So that would be the main theme. That is what the idea has to be crafted on. I, as a creative developer, love the open-endedness that gives me. So that isn't like we had at the beginning. One of the first things we did one of the like 5-6 years ago with the Palm Beach Tech was, you know, like you had to choose these 3 products and solve these 3 problems. And it's like, I do that at work. I get told what to do at work. This is a broad theme. We can help a lot of people all at the same time in different directions and different ideas. So Nikki, I love the fact that this is open, this hackathon and all that. And there are a lot of hackathons. I mean, I'll also remind people, I'll be presenting and talking about things. Some of the things I'll talk about will be useful once we go back to being able to see people person in person. This one is not. This one this weekend is this. Will be Zoom-like. But it is something that will bring up that one. And so the answer to what you can do with each one, there's a lot of them that seem to have a broad range. I'll also talk about different tricks later. How to win by not winning. One time I won, you know, the sponsor, the event had won money, and the sponsor had a ridiculous prize. It was all expenses paid, 3-day cruise, trip to Las Vegas to compete in another hackathon there. We took it, and I won that, and then we won another sponsor event there. So instead of the prize of the main event, I took the sponsor prize and I went after that one. All that. So that's always a good idea. So we'll talk about those things. All right, so it's about 6:47. Jeremy, are you on? We have. Oh, perfect. So I'm going to have. I'm going to make you an organizer because I think I'm running. Oh, whoa! I'm almost kicked out Todd, and we do need Todd.
Bad Todd.
Yes, bad Todd. I'm going to make you a co-organizer, Mr. Jeremy. And if you can all help me as people come in, we are still sort of having to manually do that. So when it's no problem when I'm not presenting. Otherwise, it's a bit. So if you, Todd, Jeremy, you know what?
I thought my name was that Todd.
Yes, that Todd. I believe that's what I said. Did I not pronounce it correct? That Todd?
I think that's what you called me. That
I think
Todd.
that's what I said, right? So,
that's okay.
So,
I go by both. You could call me Todd or that Todd, either way.
That's the wrong computer. That's not supposed to be presenting. This computer's supposed to be presenting. Sorry about that. All right. So I am the time. So my name is Damian Montero. I'm going to talk about how to win a hackathon. I am this slide is available at slides.floridajs.com. Most of the slides are. I want to let you know I am the kind of person that you need to interrupt. If you want to interrupt, I do not have any problems, especially with this event, which is really where we're getting the most out of everybody else contributing. So I'll go through some slides. I think I made them way too longer because what I wanted to do is kind of quickly go through the ideas And I might skip all these things, and then we'll jump in, and all of you will be able to give us some things about it. So, Jeremy, we have your favorite slide here coming up in just a second. So let me just go over some basics. We're FloridaJS. We were made quite a while ago when React.js, Broward, Boca.js, and Palm Beach.js joined forces. We're available. Let me go like that. We have a website, FloridaJS.com. If you ever see anything weird happening, you can check it out there. You also can see the YouTube videos that are happening, including this one live at the very bottom of the page. Some magic from some CSS things. Mr. Jeremy, this is your favorite slide. You want to take over here?
Sure is. So Tech Hub South Florida. Are we officially South Florida Tech Hub now, Nikki? Is that a thing that's out there? Did I just spoil the fun?
No, you didn't spoil it. Yeah, that's it. We flopped it. So it's okay. South Florida.
So we got a slide to update, but the links will still work. So the idea is we have a Slack channel. It's a very active. What are you doing to me, Damian?
Sorry, my friend. Sorry. So what is it? South Florida Tech Hub?
Yeah, I think the Slack and the email and all that stay the same, but the name we swapped. We haven't swapped everything around yet.
Okay. So is this right or wrong? So you guys made it. Okay.
I'd have to double check. I don't know if I actually changed.
Jeremy, I interrupted you. My
just try every combination of South Florida Tech and Hub in any combination, and you'll probably get to the right site.
Yeah. I mean, go to palmbeachtech.org. That still transfers over. So that's the one I used to. So I'll say palmbeachtech.org, right? We're a very active Slack channel. There's a developers channel where Damian and I are in there all the time, answering questions, posting funny GIFs, helping each other out. So if you have a question and you need some help, post it in the developers channel. I guarantee you there's someone there willing to spend a few minutes with you answering the question. And it's a great way to give back to the community. If you notice someone ask a question and you happen to have an answer, interact with them, answer the question. That's a great way to be a part of this larger community. So as we're growing, we used to be focused in Palm Beach County, but now we're in Palm Beach and Broward County and expanding further, right? So if you want to see what events are going on, check out the events channel. If you are in a position where you are looking for a gig, right? The South Florida Tech Hub is a membership organization. So there are companies a part of this that are looking for talent like you. So if you're interested in finding a gig, check out the gigs hiring. And there's a bunch more in there. We just added one not too long ago about chess. And it's just people wanting to get together and geek out and play chess together. So that's a great place to hang out. There's a lot of activity happening there, and there's a lot of cool things going on all the way around South Florida. If you want to connect with us, I'm Jumbo, he's Damian, and Jeannie Beanie is the organizers of this meetup group. We are always looking for talent to come out and talk. So another great way to give back to the community is to give a talk. And I like to preface this with, you don't have to be an expert. In fact, we highly encourage you to present while you're learning something. It does two things. One, it solidifies the knowledge in your brain because you have to figure out how to explain it to other people. And two, having the conversation will spark new ways of thinking about this topic and illuminate areas of where you could be stronger. So it's a win-win situation. So if you want to give a presentation, please don't hesitate to reach out to Damian or myself or Gene. The second area, a part of the slide, is Code Palm Beach. We are a nonprofit organization dedicated to teaching kids to code. We host multiple events a month at various locations and online, and we're always looking for volunteers or open source contributors. So if you want to check out the website, palmbeachtech.org, or reach out to me personally, I am the board. I sit on the board as the chair. I would be happy to answer any questions for you and get you involved in some of the open source projects or mentoring our students. And the idea is to build the South Florida Tech Hub into what it says, a tech hub. So yeah, that's it. Never know how to end these things. I gotta figure out what's an ending line.
And now presenting the presenter. How was that? Does that work? No? So
presenting the presenter of the
presenting
presentation,
the presenter,
of
the presentation.
how to present the presentation
our
of
show?
how to win the hackathon.
And now to our show, yes, and how to win the hackathon. I love it. I love
Round
all
of
those
applause for
versions.
Damian.
Fantastic.
Yay.
Woohoo! So I'm Damian Montero. Yes, Todd, tell us.
Sorry,
You
Nikki,
were Todd.
just to confirm one of the questions in the chat. Never mind.
Sorry, I just got it. Sorry, I was
I'll
typing.
shut up. Go ahead, Damian. Take it away.
I love it. I love that. That's what we want to do. Shut me up. Or shut you up, or I get confused and all that. So I'm Damian Montero. Yes, you pronounce it with an exclamation mark because I'm that kind of a guy. And I used to be a tech lead. Now I work for all sorts of different people. I love using JavaScript, and I've won 5 hackathons, including the ones in Miami. The one I talked about a little bit earlier. I mentioned it. You know, I won in Miami. It was all expensive trip to Las Vegas, and then I won one of the vendors won, and we'll talk a little bit more about it. So you know. Wow, I just jumped in. Well, and this is a good thing. I'm going to try to see if I can be as quick as possible on this. I don't want you to skip any of this, but what I do want is I want the discussion to be open. So again, one of those, if there's something in here that you're questioning or you think it's the opposite or anything like that, please stop me and let's talk about it. I think it would be a good idea for it. If not, we'll have an ability to talk about it afterwards. We're talking about here, you know what I mean, how to win the hackathon, what you can do for any hackathon. So I'll be mentioning some things that won't make sense. For example, some things about, you know, when you can walk up to the judge. I don't think I have that slide. Well, you can't here in the one that's happening, the Palm Beach Tech one, at the end of the week. If you don't know about it, join us on Slack. We'll tell you more about it, or go to Palm Beach Tech. Oh my God, I keep on saying that, Nikki. I keep on saying that. Sorry about that.
It's going to take some use to get used to, right?
Exactly. All right. One on Friday, and then whenever a hackathon starts, you'll want to talk to people, and you'll be surprised how quickly teams are formed. So definitely join a team. Try to, as quickly as possible, see what things are around. Don't worry if you want, you know, if you're like, oh my gosh, I got to see all the teams. That just join a couple of different ones. It's okay to stand up and to talk to different people and see if there's a different one that's going around. And of course, there is no team that's ever fully formed. Be comfortable with having other people join you. So that's a trick to getting the updates. Before you start, these are all things before you start. The hackathon release will start this hackathon. The weekend will start on Saturday. Any hackathon before you start, make sure you update your laptops, you update whatever it is you're looking for, download anything you have idea. During the pitch, when you see what's going on, no idea is bad. Something that may seem to be boring for you will be exciting for other people. And something that not so exciting, but you're okay with, might be really something to be amazingly for. Oh, Mike, what's going on here? I'm just jumping a little place. My apologies. All right. So on the Saturday, let me see if I missed anything, but you know what? It's better. If I miss anything, we'll talk about it afterwards. Just think of what's going on, get to know people, and be aware of it. You want to not do, and I have a better graphic than this, don't do don't be the people that think they can work independently right away from the beginning. Set up a Slack channel on the South Florida Tech Hub Slack channel for your team, or any which way. Have a way to pass things back and forth. This will be essential eventually, even sooner than what you think. And if you then have to copy it to a thumb drive and someone else is not ready, if you have it on Git, you have it on Dropbox, if you have it on Slack, it'll be easy to push things back and forth. I don't know how many times I've had to give me that image back again in smaller things. So just be prepared for things. Big things first. Listen, you're going to think you have all the time in the world. After all, you have over 24 hours. 24 hours. Me and Todd and Jeremy have created Facebook in 24 hours, right? If we call it Meta, which, there's nothing there built. So we've done that in 24 hours. Do the big things first. Make the obvious things first. If you're doing eBay and you think the most complicated thing is listing an item, jump into that. You don't have to do the first page, the front page, or the About Us page. Jump into the important things, because At worst case scenario, you'll want to show off the most impressive things. That's one of the big things about during the hackathon. Okay. Ugly is okay. This is an important thing that people don't understand. If it's beautiful, but it doesn't work, you might get away with it. But if it's ugly and it works, you will get away with it. It's okay to get the basics working and worry about the details later. That's another way of saying, it doesn't have to be perfect. It has to be at least doing what you need it to do. Yes, Todd has said it very well. Ugly is first, so functionality is, ugly is okay, functionality is first, perfect. Fake it until you make it. There's a lot of pages you'll be able to fake. And I don't want to see them live that way, but maybe there's a page where all the listings, where you're going to see all the listings on eBay. If we're building eBay tomorrow, or Craigslist tomorrow, or Facebook tomorrow, you can fake those, and then people can see what it's looked like. And then you can hand it off to someone that's going to design it, program it, look at it, present it. Right? Someone may be getting ready to do the presentation and they want a screenshot. So if you have a fake version, you'll see how useful it is for everybody else. All right. Like I always say, one of the most important things here is no one can hear you outside of your group. And what I mean by that is no one's copying you. No one's going to ever, ever, ever listen to your magical idea, no matter how good it is. Oh, it's Twitter, but for Facebook users, right? And no one's going to see that and say, oh my gosh, I'm going to drop everything and do their idea. No one will. So scream it out, be okay with it, don't worry about it, and communicate with your users, with your teammates. Tell them, listen, I'm having trouble with this, or can somebody help? So make sure to let them know. Don't hide it away till the last minute. Don't think anybody's not going to see you, okay? There's some more things you should know. Do what you know. A lot of times in hackathons, we want to try it out. Listen, I'm an Angular guy, but I want to try React. I'm a Photoshop guy, but I want to do Premiere or video editing and all that. What you tend to do is you tend to struggle with that. Even if you do this and you're like, I would like to try this new technology, so this is perfect chance to do about it. That's fine, but fail early. Realize whether it's working or not early, and get back to what you know best and see what's going on there. One of the things I had it written down, I don't think I have it, is make sure you give everybody on that subject, make sure you give everybody a task. Once you've designed things, I think I sort of jumped the gun there for the design. Once you've designed things, make sure everybody knows what the task is. There will be people that don't quite know what to do, and so they're kind of stuck there, and they'll hum and or go get some, the snacks, or go to the bathroom, and not really know what to do. Just be aware of it. All right. Okay to change ideas in the middle of your project. It's okay in the middle of it to change idea. It's not okay at the end, but if you have to, you have to. Just try your best to not worry about it. You're doing something that's fun, exciting. Just make sure it's something that works out, but it's okay to change things. We mentioned this before. Start with the major features. I won't go do that. Don't blame fix if something happens. Okay, I screwed up. I didn't get my things done, or something broke, or we didn't get that working. Okay, work on it together. Make sure you can get it working. Figure out what to do. There's never a bad time. One thing to know
is something will go wrong.
100%.
So be prepared for that. It's not going to go according to plan. So don't worry about it. Don't worry about blaming. Don't worry about any of that stuff. Just fix, move, do what you got to.
Yes, wise words. So make sure you can just keep going. That's important. You have a little bit of time to do it. Like before, nobody's copying you. Don't worry about somebody getting your ideas. Okay, we had another way of doing things. This is, important thing. I'm jumping a little place. I do apologize here. Try to start with, I should have started with this slide first. Whatever you do at the very beginning, put it on a piece of paper. These are fancy. They used to give these sometimes to some of the hackathons. We won't be getting to this hackathon this weekend, but try to put something together so you can see what's going on. As you can see with this screenshot, which is wonderful. It's the rough idea. Like you'll be surprised how many times you lay it out like that, and then you're like, oh, I'm going to press this button, and of course this fake button that you see on the right hand side. I'm pressing, and I go to the wait a minute. Right, we didn't design that page. Oh my God, hold on a second. I didn't realize we had to ask for their age before we asked for their, height, or I don't know what's going on.
And one thing to add to that, Damian, is if you're building a project solo, you might have it in your head and it might be perfect and you might not have forgotten anything. But if you have two people that are building it, you probably have two different pictures in your head. So if you wireframe it, now you're on the same page, and now everyone on the team knows what you're trying to build. That you can ideate on those wireframes, but the key is that everyone's building towards the same goal.
Love it. Thank you, Todd. That's fantastic with anything we do in any single time. And also, and this was our experience with a hackathon where Todd was a coach and I happened to sneak in as with other two individuals. And it was great because we had the screenshots already talked about. The backend person knew what was coming next, right? The backend person looked at the screenshots like, I know what you're writing down there, so I know what you're probably going to need on the endpoint on the backend. The front-end person knew what page there were, even though, let's just say, the other team members weren't in that page, but she was finished. So she could go on to that next page about it. So it's super important that you map both the backend and the front end, but at the very least front end, because like I said, you want to go through the motions of your app, even though it's not built. So that's something very important. We talked about that. Don't do USB. This is supposed to be a slide on don't worry about if it's ugly at first. So it's okay. I think it looks good. I think that gentleman on the left hand looks fantastic.
That cannot be unseen.
What's that?
That slide cannot be unseen.
Yes, indeed. What, you want to see it again? Is that what you want to see? Okay.
That's exactly what I needed.
Perfect. Don't worry about the details. Skip. We're talking a little bit about it later. Fake it until you make it. Do some pages that you don't really need but would be ideal. Do some sections that you don't really need but would be ideal in the sections. Do things like skip the authentication, right? We all understand there's going to be authentication. We all understand the right user would not be able to be logged in if they have the wrong password. We all understand there's going to be a forget password. Just skip that part. You're trying to do the major things about it. So if your project is how to do something new in security, cool, do the full security. If not, maybe skip the login page. We kind of realize you logged in. We're not confused by that as judges. The most important thing I'm going to tell you here, if there's anything that you are going to be blown away when you hear this, it's the presentation. And here, please stop me. Please ask me questions about this. I like what Mark is saying. Let's start with that. Definitely think about Figma, Sketch, and Adobe XD. And I'm a big fan of this, but I'd like the judges to talk about it, even if you're going to be presenting it that way. Like presenting a mock subject. But it's a good idea to have the mock so that you can know what the screen has looked like and move forward. All right, presentations, most important part. You're saying, Damian, makes no sense. I spent 4 hours picking the right team on Friday. I spent 24 hours on Saturday building the amazing thing. And I'm going to spend 7 minutes presenting. Why would this be the most important thing? Because your judges are here. They're going to see what's going on in there. So here's some tips about that. Tell a story. Every salesperson knows this. You now know it has to be a story. You cannot jump right in, and I'll go into this in the next subject. You cannot jump in showing me what's going on. You have to, let's skip that part. Let's go back here. You have to tell me a story. Tell me about why it's about you. If you want to present yourself, you can let me know who you are, who the people are. Don't spend too much time about it, but tell me why I'm listening to this. What problem are you truly solving? Because I want to be involved and be captured by your story about it. You only have 2 minutes to 7 minutes to present it. So try to be brief, but to the point. All right, I've seen this a million times, and it's going to be even worse when it's on Zoom. Do only one computer. I know the back end works on this one. The PowerPoints are on Jimmy's computer. The iPad that Jennifer has is the one we're going to be presenting on. There are ways to get it all on one computer. The last thing anybody wants to see is to spend a minute switching computers. And you always, in every event, see this. In Zoom, it's easy to switch back and forth, but even then, they get confused. Your computer doesn't want to go on Zoom to present it and all that. When we go back live, please, one computer only. Figure out how to put it all on one computer. Trust me. PowerPoint is good. Demo is better. Show it off. I don't want us to know too much of the story. Show me what you got. Don't go over time. I say this a million times. We used to have Joe wave at you, then put a light, then we put special lights, and then we would literally interrupt you. We would literally walk in front of you and go, thank you very much. What does the judges think? And it looks ridiculous. You look ridiculous. We don't. We look like a-holes, but you look ridiculous. So with the problem. Yes. Thank you. Be nice to other teams. When this is not going to be an issue, but when we go first person to person, I don't want to see your cheers or what, or ask questions. You know, when they're presenting, you have to be nice. They'll do the same for you, and nothing's worse for the judges than you being not so nice. Here's the important thing, and I think I have another slide as well for this. No interruptions. If you're presenting and something happens, I think that's different. Pardon me. Don't interrupt your teammates. If I say there's 24 widgets in our widget collection that I'm presenting, and you interrupt me for 32, I'm going to lose my concentration. And the judges think that everybody in the team doesn't know what they're doing. So no interruptions. Don't get angry at the judges. The judges will get you angry. Don't. Answer all their questions and, be happy. Prepare before the presentation. This is kind of obvious, but it should be said. You should present yourself. Don't go overboard. There are some teams that start on Saturday morning for the presentation. That's okay. That's great if you have someone that can do that. But usually you want to not do that. You want to have a sort of an hour or two before the presentations, present, get comfortable. There's a million things you can say with that, but it's, prepare a story, make sure you're under time, but don't go overboard. Don't go crazy. You're about to do some good stuff. Hey, it's repeated. Really, don't go over the time allowed. This is super important. Don't interrupt your roommates. That's also important. Here's some tips. Forms can be filled in. I'm skipping. There's two lines. I already said the second line about don't stop if there's a problem. Oh, let's repeat it. Forms can be filled in. You can go ahead and fill them in for us. If there's a sign-up form, if you feel it's part of it, I'm not going to be blown away or confused as a judge if it's already pre-filled in, and they will save you the time of filling it in. 3, 3, 3, 4, 8, 6. No. Don't stop if there's a problem. You can literally have a problem presenting. Try to work through it. If you were in the middle of a process of telling us about your story and the person that's controlling the laptop has some issues, continue telling us the story. Make it a joke, you know what I mean? But don't stop and try to help the person and see what's going on. There's nothing harder than having 3 people trying to type at the same time on the keyboard. Trust me, I've tried.
Damian, on the
yes.
On the note of filling in the forms,
yeah,
you can practice this 100 times before your presentation, and you're like, oh my God, I fill it out so quickly. But when you get up in front of people and you're presenting and the time is on you and it's real, you're gonna fumble with your typing. It's just it's just human nature. So having those pre-filled out is a really good idea.
I love that. Excellent point. There's an after to this presentation, and everybody forgets this. share your code. You had it on GitHub, you forgot to check it in, or you had it and you're the developer and everybody else doesn't see this, but they didn't realize and they left and they finished the presentation. When we're person to person, this is going to happen much more often. You might not find the person you were with, and you want to see that this wonderful thing that you're like, oh man, it sucked, was actually pretty good, and there's some pretty good stuff in there. So definitely share your code, ask your coworkers for their code, and don't be afraid to go out of the teams and say, hey, can I see your code? That was amazing. There's nothing better than doing that. It's hard when we're in, in the virtual, but it's good when we're in person to person. Get contact information, you found some good friends, you made some good friends, maybe you made some enemies. I don't think so, but get their contact information. You definitely want them to, let them know what's going on in there. Post pics, do us a favor, post your pics, be fun for everybody to do it. You might be happy, you might be sad, but you're going to want next year, next month, next week to remind yourself what it is. I keep on finding some pictures. Michelle took some amazing pictures of this IoT little red, like LED crown that I was wearing it. I cannot find it because I didn't grab those pictures. And she has some amazing pictures of me, and everybody has some amazing pictures of me. Grab them, post them and check them out. I had some, I don't know if this is important. Here you go. You can go to slides.floridajs.com. There's some links to some interesting things, especially the one in the top left corner instantly makes you a React app and you can work on it. So just, be aware of it. We got some bad news before we get started up. There's no FloridaJS December. Maybe that's going to change. You can blame Santa for that. But more importantly than anything, let's talk. That's it, my presentation. I want to hear from every one of you. Todd, Nikki, you have been judges. Michelle, you have been, oh wow, Michelle, you cross country, you're going around the world? Is there an airplane? I love this.
I'm on the Coast Starlight Amtrak train.
Wow.
And I'm going from Eugene, Oregon to Seattle, Washington right now.
Holy smokes. The internet's amazing. This is crazy. I love that. I love that. Michelle, were you ever a judge in any of the hackathons or pitch contests?
Hackathons, yes. The Tech Hub hackathon, no.
Yeah, perfect. Let's get from you, the judges, some advice is maybe what you saw, what you didn't like about certain presenters, what you did like about other ones, because I'd love the input.
Yeah, just let us know who should start.
Whenever you're ready. This is you. Oh. This is your time to go. Please.
I love a well-practiced pitch. So I've seen people build really incredible technology and then just not spend enough time speaking. And wow. So from an organizational perspective, I think it's really important to have a lot of people or a good number of people on your team that are not developers, so that they can work on things like marketing, the slide deck, design, copywriting, and then of course, practicing the pitch. And, I think it's like one of those things that after you have your idea down, it's almost something that like as the developers are working, like other people are starting to work on the pitch and the speech as well. And then just rehearse, because I feel like it makes all the difference.
You won second place a couple of years. Go for it, Michelle.
Oh, I was going to say a lot of the other stuff you already mentioned, like have your forms filled out or a button to fill them out automatically, skip the authentication. We get it. But I think practicing and getting advice from the coaches, utilize the coaches so that you can make sure you have a strong presentation because they know what they know what people are looking for and the judges are looking for.
I love it. I'm one of the coaches, so there's a couple of the different people here. We know tricks to get around certain things like pre-built stuff. I have pre-built node apps, all these type of things. So, utilize that. I might find you a service that can do some of the things you don't have to worry about. You don't have to think about it. So that's amazing, Michelle. You mentioned something. Did you have in that team that you won second place, did you have someone that was like dedicated to the presentation?
Yeah, so basically Alina, myself, Sarah, and Morgan worked on the front and back end front end and back end. So we split 2 and 2. And then the other half of our team was, UX, UI, graphic designer, copywriter, and marketer. And the designers kind of split between both sides. And then the copywriter and the marketer worked on the presentation, and they basically started as soon as we started. They didn't wait for us to be done. Like, we just had stand-ups constantly, and we made sure we were constantly in sync. And they spent equal amount of time working on the presentation as we did on the code.
I love that. I think it's fantastic. I'm a big fan. I don't know. Maybe it just, with the hackathon we did last week with what Todd was the coach. We kind of did last minute, but we did have someone that did all the slides for us, got it all presented. So that was something that allowed me as a person that likes to speak and doesn't stop, as you can see it, tell, to be able to grab the slides, see the organization, and go with it. So I think it's a great idea. Interesting. So you'd like the flawless speech, okay?
Yeah, I want to second that too. That having the presentation practiced, I completely agree. I've seen in several hackathons, I've seen where I had a team where I thought, wow, what they built was far better than anyone else. And they didn't win because they didn't present it. They didn't tell the story well. They didn't show the technology well. And somebody else who had a far inferior app, just told the story well, explained why their solution was the solution. And it, so that's really key. A lot of it is telling the story. So practice that, put effort into that, know the story. And I think having your presentation have a good balance between here's the problem we're addressing, here's how we address it, and then really focusing on a good demo. And then, from the demo, right back into the presentation and wrapping up. I think that's a winning combo. And having, like Michelle said, having people on your team dedicated to that. She mentioned doing regular stand-ups. I think, some teams that works really well, some teams, but the key is constant communication, right? You really want to make sure that the team is communicating. If you can be co-located, that removes a lot of barriers to communication. Just remove all the barriers and communicate with your team, make sure presentation is ready to go.
Nikki, you brought something up on the chat. You want to talk about that, the code reviews?
Yeah, so ditto to everything that Todd and Michelle said. I completely agree with that. I thought Mark had a great question in the chat because he asked, how much time should the working demo or code take up during the presentation? And does it actually matter to judges who don't know what the code means? So first thing is we definitely have technical judges this year. So there are people that are going to be able to look at the code and the GitHub repositories. But even with that said, I think that oftentimes, I think what you said in the very beginning, Damian, is that having a really good mix of different skill sets on the team is important, because often when you have a team of just all developers, everybody's very technical. So that's all they want to talk about. So to Todd's point is telling the story. What is the problem? How are we solving it? Showing who did what on the team, how you guys work together, like going through the whole story of it versus just diving so deep into the tech. Because I think that's, at least in my opinion, that is the least of everybody's worries, because I think in a hackathon, especially 24 hours, no code's going to be perfect. So you're not going to have, even the technical judges are not going to sit there and like look through every single line of code and go, oh my God, he failed. Like, it's more about what the problem is, how you're solving it, what you're doing for the community and for the overall theme of inclusion. And then it's kind of, to me, it's almost like a startup founder's pitch, but with a little bit of code in there. And I think a lot of times people, when they think hackathon, they think tech first and then the story later, but I think it's the other way around.
I love that. Absolutely.
Nikki, do you think that there's any reason to show the code at all in the presentation? Or do you think it's just, here's the story, here's how we built it, and then demo, and then come back and final remarks?
I don't think it's necessary. I know there was one team, I think it was in the 2019 hackathon, the one we did, the last one in person. There was a team that literally had one slide, and it was kind of just like a screenshot of like some of the code just to say, hey, this is, and as they talked about it, but they didn't go through it in detail. It was kind of just a screen just to show, hey, this is kind of what we did, but yeah, nothing in depth.
So like Nikki said, and some of the other hackathons require this, they've had a record of the past. I believe one of the requirements is for you to check in your code, some part of ideally all your code, but at least some part of it. And I don't know, Nikki, what they're checking, but I would guess that they're checking more like, did you fake it? And I said, fake it until you make it. But what they mean is like, if the biggest thing you presented is the fact that it's supposed to be like, really pulling stuff from the IRS, and I don't see any code of you doing anything. You have fake data. Hey, that's going to diminish it. I don't like 100%. Like Nikki said, they're not checking for beautiful code. They're just checking if you really did what you said you did. And that's what they care.
We also had a couple of years ago, Damian, that one of the teams was disqualified because they brought in a project that they had worked on. It was like a startup founder where they had worked on something for weeks or months prior and wanted to submit this as like their hackathon project. And so they were disqualified because we realized it wasn't created. Like there was no way that they created what they did in 24 hours. So that too.
As a developer that cares about, really the competition that we're having, I appreciate that.
I remember that project well.
Yeah.
Impo, you and Rebecca mentioned a little bit earlier that, what if we brought in the project? It's perfectly fine to bring in ideas. Between you and me, preparing some pieces, kind of my suggestion as a hack to the hackathon. But it feels a little bit, like cheating if everything's already made, and what you did is you polished it or you renamed it so it didn't, people can Google your code. But I agree with you. I mean, we are testing each other, having a lot of fun, but we're testing each other's capability to do something in 24 hours. So, I mean, if I come in with 22 years worth of experience, I'm not going to drop all that. So if I do have a lot of things I sneak in from Google, and I'm like on GitHub, and I'm like, oh, this is how you log in. So you don't have to build the whole login system, but I'm not going to copy the whole project and all that. I think it makes a lot of sense, Nikki, that someone should be disqualified for that.
Yeah. And you were asking about like the project submitted. So it's on Saturday morning that we request for the slide decks, the actual presentations, and then GitHub repositories to be submitted by 9 a.m. on Saturday, so that we have an hour for the judges to kind of look through it all. I'm sorry, Sunday, yes. 9 a.m. on Sunday, so that by 10 a.m., an hour later, we can start presentations.
Oh, we have only Saturday then?
Correct. So essentially, the schedule, and most hackathons are the same, and it's the same one for Palm Beach Tech. On Friday, you're really meeting. You can start coding, but really, you're meeting you're the team. You're going to see some presentations, blah 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 blah, and then you're supposed to sort of start technically on Saturday morning, but no one's going to blame you to start. The GitHub is initiated on Friday night. You have all of Saturday, and then technically, between you and me, until 9 a.m. on Sunday, you can code all night long. Ask Michelle; she's the expert of that. She asks, she's like, "Where can I continue coding?" Because the event was closing down, and we gave her, my favorite coffee place. They went there and they kicked ass, right? So, you can code until 4 o'clock in the morning, but really at 9 o'clock in the morning, you have to present. You have to send the things. And Nikki, I think they'll be okay if like the presentation isn't exactly right, like the slides are different or something like that, right? Or are we supposed to?
Yeah, like I think, yeah, I mean, if there's obviously like a slide or two in there that's a little bit different or whatever, it's fine. But I think we just want to see the majority of like the presentation and the project, just so it's, again, not something completely different than what you submitted.
Fair enough. Also, there's going to be, I think we had talks about, my dog disagrees with that for some reason. There was a translation issue here. She's not that good with English. So there is, what was I going to say? See what I get from listening to my dog. I'm sorry. Please continue. There was something I was going to say. I totally lost my track. I was going to ask questions.
We were talking about the presentations being due ahead of time and having the slides
submitted.
different.
Yes. When's thank you, Todd. When's the presentation going to happen on Sunday? Like, when is it actually going to?
On Sunday, they start at 10 a.m. So submissions by 9, and then 10 we start presentations.
So there's your 1 hour at least to prepare, or maybe
practice.
The shower. That's when you shower. You shower from 9 to 10.
I was going to Todd. I was literally say, or you walk dog. You go around the block and relax, so that when you come in there, you're not the stressed person you were at 9 o'clock in the morning. As you finally slided it in there at 9:01, and we're like, okay, we'll accept it. No. Right, Nikki? Or are we not? We're not accepting.
Yeah, we're good. We'll slide 901.
And 901, yeah, but 902, that's too much. Yeah, I hear you. So maybe you can relax, or definitely present, whatever. That would be up to you. So absolutely. And so my dog's reminding me, sometimes you're going to get annoying people, but remember, after the presentation, they're going to be a lot less annoying and a lot more friendlier. So definitely get the contact information. Even if you're annoyed at 9 o'clock that they didn't do their part, or 8 o'clock, or whenever it is, know that you will really like them after a while. So definitely get everybody's contact information. Thank you for reminding me of that.
That's what your dog was trying to tell you.
That's what she was trying to commit. Absolutely. Any other hints? Anything, Nikki, did you, or Todd and Michelle, please, anybody that wants to contribute here, did you all see anything that surprised you, that where one project really blew you away, and then every other, everybody else said, nah, and so it was removed?
I think I was actually talking to Michelle earlier today. I think for me, something that we actually added to last year's judging rubric was the teamwork piece, because not a lot of teams in their presentations talk about how they utilized each other's skills and what people did and how well they worked together. And we do have, just so you know, there's a couple of things that are kind of like brownie points or like tiebreakers in there. So definitely think about not only just the technical piece or the presentation itself and how pretty the slide is and like what project you're doing, but really talking about the overall value of what the project brings to the community and to the whole theme of inclusion, what's its impact, talking about were you guys super innovative? Is there anything that's out there like this already? Or did you guys try to create something new? Maybe took something that's already out there and improved upon it. Again, about your team and how you guys all work together. So just kind of thinking, I think a little bit more well-rounded than just the tech side, the problem and the solution, and then the presentation, just kind of a little bit more well-rounded, talking about how you guys work together.
Someone's pretty anti-tech here. I don't know. It's the fifth time you repeat it,
No, I think in something like this, it's all about the story, I think it's definitely, you want to be technical, but I think just making sure that you're
saying you want to include people in your team.
Right.
You want to be inclusive.
Include everybody in your team.
Can you, Nikki? Can you address Mark's question about the virtual job fair and how that's playing in, and do they have to set aside, separate time for that?
Yeah. So all the hackathon attendees will actually there's going to be another email going out tomorrow. And part of that will be to address the virtual job fair. But basically even though the hackathon is going to start at 5:30 p.m. on Friday, the actual virtual job fair portion, that platform, which is, we're using the Premier Virtual platform, it's going to open at 8 a.m. on Friday. So if there are people that are looking for jobs, the employers right now are finishing setting up their booths and all of that. So you can actually start viewing them on 8 a.m. and it'll stay open the entire weekend. It won't close until Sunday at midnight. So you can go in and look at jobs, apply, look at their links and the companies and all that the entire weekend.
That's amazing. A lot of the hackathon, excuse me, a lot of the hackathons will have that. will have job fairs associated, or at least vendors, in the vendor area. When we go person to person, there will be that. So definitely check those out. You take a break. That's a good chance to step away from the code that's not working and take a break and see the vendors, see what the different things about it. Definitely talk to them. That's always been a hint. The vendors tend to, in other hackathons, want you to use some kind of code. Ask them about it. They'll also be the judges, so they'll also realize that you asked about it. That's little social engineering here. But definitely in this case, definitely check out the job fairs and different things like that.
Sorry, I was just answering the question in chat, but Impu asked how many teams participate each year. It ranges pretty drastically from like 10 to, I think last year we actually had 18, but it's going to depend on how many teams are formed, because teams can be 2 people up to 6 people. So if you have, obviously all teams are 6 people, you're going to have less teams versus if you have a bunch of smaller teams.
Perfect. So let's remind everybody that, yeah, right, like she says, in this particular one that's happening on the weekend, there's that. Check out each one of the hackathons to make sure you understand that whether you're allowed to be the only one on the team, whether there is a limit. Some hackathons don't have a limit. Some hackathons have a range, like we just talked about. So just be aware about it with anything like that. The last thing you want to do is be eliminated for something like that team in 2019 was eliminated that you could have been in control of and all that. So.
And I don't know if you guys saw, by the way, I did put it in the Slack channel yesterday. You guys were the first to hear, but we did increase the cash prize for first prize. I don't know if anybody mentioned that, but I did drop it in Slack yesterday. Please. Yeah, that's a big one, because I think the last, 4 or 5 years, I think even before I started, it was always at the $2,500 mark was the highest we went. So this year we have $3,500 for the first team. I'm actually talking to a sponsor right now, trying to get a little bit more money so we can increase the other 2 prize pots too, but I'm working on it.
Judges cannot win? Judges cannot?
No, judges cannot take home any money. Right. Like, can coaches get paid?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not a judge, a coach. Yeah. So I'm one of the coaches there. Sorry. But you did say judges. You didn't mention coaches.
Right.
Damian,
right. Trying to work the system.
On that point, I've seen hackathons where literally the top prize, and that this particular one that I'm talking about, this is less than the one this weekend, but was like the top prize was $3,000 and the top vendor prize was $5,000. So obviously I went for the $5,000 vendor prize. There isn't that way here, but just be conscious of that. There are sometimes some vendors that will give you more than just, you will get a better prize if you win second place in the overall hackathon, but you might walk away with more money or something that you're interested in from another one. The AT&T one had some ridiculous ones. And then, for example, we made sure to be on both. So I won the top BlackBerry prize. Yes, this was a long time ago. And I won the top Windows phone. So it was even longer ago. On that hackathon in Las Vegas. So that was my trick. That's why I walked away with almost $10,000. So that's one of the tricks you can utilize a lot of the times in this case, And sometimes there could be something that you're interested in, like they are worth $500, but it's something you could utilize. It's a free certificate or a free special thing that you can show off at your work or at your situation. So just be conscious of that whenever you're thinking of hackathons. $3,500 is the most we've ever had in any of the Palm Beach Tech Hub hackathons. That's amazing.
Yep. My goal is to get 5,000 for first prize next year. That's my goal.
Nikki, that sounds like a goal you're going to reach by next week.
Right. Jeez. Well, hopefully.
Well, just a couple of days after this hackathon finishes, we'll be like, next time. All right. That sounds amazing. Thank you for that.
Yeah, right. I don't know, Damian, if you wanted to address this at all, but I know we have similar to the last couple of years, AWS is also coming in with some coaches, and they have their credits they're giving away. And we also have Salesforce this year.
Oh, lovely.
Both of them. So I don't know if you wanted to address that at all.
Please. I mean, anytime there is free giveaways. So in an AWS example, they literally need for you to talk to them and they'll hand you $50 on AWS, which I believe is either $50 or 50. I still have one from Microsoft, which was $50 for life, like every single month. So, take advantage of these things. Some of them don't require you to win that sponsor. Just go to talk to the sponsor. You might find yourself working there. You might find yourself utilizing their services and getting a bunch of different credits for it, or a bunch of knowledge, or finding out that they have they'll give you free certification. So therefore, now all of a sudden you have a new job that's better. So definitely talk to the vendors. It's a silly thing not to do. It won't take you too long, and most of them, they have more than just little free pens or something to give you. They probably have free credits and things that are kind of worth it. You know what I mean? So, and there's always the coolest toy. One of the vendors, when we all go back to one of the vendors that when we all go back to real life will have the coolest toy, and you will have it if you walked in and walked around the vendor's room and all that. So do take my advice. Find your team first. There'll be plenty of time to get the vendors and all that, but get the free stuff. Yes. All right. Anybody else have any other advice that they would suggest, or questions about the hackathons, or any hackathons at all?
Oh, rest up. That's the last piece of advice I got. Rest up, because it's going to be a long weekend.
Absolutely. 100%.
On that note, we should get off the Zoom call and go rest.
Or have some of the dinner I have sitting down there looking at me funny. Son of a, you be quiet over there. You be quiet. I'm looking at my dinner. Who needs JetBrains licenses? If you need JetBrains licenses, I think you should just reach out to me. We usually have win.floridajs.com, and we should utilize it, Nikki, at the next big, huge event. I'll give you a URL. You can do that. But I like it. Michelle says everybody needs it. So if you do need a JetBrains license from any software from JetBrains, let me know. We do have some extra licenses to go. Maybe I should have given them away in the hackathon, Nikki. But you have plenty of vendors and hackathon. You do your job, and so
if you have them, bring them with you.
Perfect. So we'll see if that's the case. If you do need a JetBrains license, contact me. I'm Damian Montero, or on Slack. So you got to find me on Slack and all that. So contact me. I'll let you know how to do it. I'll give you one of the licenses and things like that. I have plenty to give around. I don't have 20. I have 3 between everybody here. But if you do need one, just let me know. Whoever did need one, so probably has contacted me. So I have some to give away. On that note, Jeremy, do we have anything else left? That silence means no.
Silence is compliance.
Nice.
All good. That was a great presentation. Thanks, everybody. Had a wonderful conversation, and
thank you.
See you next time.
Good luck on your trip, Michelle.
Oh, good luck this weekend.
Yes.
Thanks, Damian. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. Yeah. I love the video, by the way. I love the fact that you joined us from the train. That is awesome. That is freaking awesome. I love that. So thank you.
Hey, we got the Bright Line coming back. So
yeah. Oh, I'm going. When is
next
it?
Week. Next week.
Is it next week, Nikki?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, I'm gonna go there with my kids. I have 2 kids, so I'm gonna go out there and just try it out. But when React Miami comes around, and are we still gonna do something there? We better, right? Part of React Miami's party is there.
We can do whatever.
Nice.
We can do whatever we want.
I love it. I cannot wait for React Miami. Okay.
I'm so excited.
So I'm there for that. Yeah, so excited. Thank you, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.